This is episode 10, and the Huskers are headed to the Outback Bowl?
That's prediction.
Maybe.
You know, if they went out.
Maybe.
You know, things can change here in the next couple of weeks, or which bowl they go to.
Predictions are Nebraska versus Auburn is what I see.
Oh, that'd be a good game.
Yeah.
That'd be a real good game. Get to go see the guy who recruited me to play at Nebraska. He's the defensive coordinator for Auburn, Kevin Steele.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah,
and they got the guy from Miami, right? No, it went the other way.
No, the other way.
Yeah, they went the other way.
Right. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be a lot of fun. And that's the thing about college football. Late in the season, still got a couple games left. Anything can change.
Well, we've seen that this weekend.
Yeah, with the
2, 3, and 4.
2, 3, 4 loss, and you never would have thought it. Not on the same weekend. You know, you might have thought maybe one might lose this week, or one lost last week, or one lose the final week of the season. But the week before, you had number 4 lose, Texas A&M, the first week of the BCS playoff pairing, and then the next week you got 2, 3, and 4 lose. So the only team that really wants to be there right now is Alabama.
So when does the college rankings come out? When do they do that?
They've already done them.
Is that?
Yeah. That's Tuesday. That's what they do Tuesday.
Here's what I'm looking at. I seen that Michigan was still in there. That's what threw me off.
Well, yeah, how they lost. You know,
there was some
Ohio State, Michigan going to eliminate each other.
Yeah. One of those guys are gone.
Yeah, so everybody's up in an uproar about the Big Ten having 2 teams in there. People, Ohio State, Michigan, the loser of that game is going to be out of the picture. So there's no question. So people just get your panties out of the bunch, your underwear out of the bunch, and relax. It's going to work its way out.
It's interesting with Clemson losing. They're still in the mix.
Well, yeah, because they still have a chance to win the ACC championship.
And Louisville is right behind them.
And people are talking about, well, how come Clemson's ranked higher than Louisville? Well, Clemson beat Louisville.
They beat them.
They beat them head to head. So I have no problem with that.
Yeah, it's still interesting. Big Ten. I mean, you still got Penn State. Seeing Penn State up there is crazy. I never thought they'd be in the picture.
Well,
good for them.
Well, here's the thing about it. If Ohio State's beat Michigan and Penn State wins out, Penn State goes to the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
Because they have the head-to-head over Ohio State.
And at this point, if Wisconsin's going unless Minnesota beats them, and then that opens up the door for us.
Right, and Nebraska wins out, Minnesota. So I mean, you know, Nebraska and Ohio State needs help. I don't think they're going to get it, though.
After watching this week's game, I don't think they're going to get it either.
And that's okay. You know, as long as they finish the season off strong, you know, they didn't get to reach the goal or make it to the Big Ten championship, but they still could with help. But they'll finish the season 10-2 and go into a New Year's Day bowl game, and that's all you can ask for in the second year of a coaching change. I
think people forget that, like the projections at the beginning of the year that we'd maybe be better, a game or two better, but they surely didn't think we were going to be 10-2.
And I predict 9-4,
which you know. With the way the ball has been bouncing, they could have been 9-4, but they finished the games late, and that's what is impressive about this team more than anything. That when they get down late, they compete and they fight and they finish strong, and that's all you can ask for. Clicked on the wrong game, but yeah, I mean they came back and they had a decent game this week. Which once I find the stats, I was trying to pull them up, but.
Well, I have them here if you want me to knock them off, you know.
Well, I was just trying to look and see what it looked like from the team stats and the yardage, and actually Nebraska
had more yards.
Yeah,
and Minnesota did most of their damage early in the game, the first half. After the first half, Minnesota didn't do much. The defense went and made adjustments and pretty much shut them down the second half. And you know when you look at the quarterback comparisons, you know their stats were almost identical. With the exception of one interception versus no interceptions, and then 2 touchdowns versus no touchdowns. But you look at the passing rating, one was 88 and one was 74. But they both threw the ball 27 times, and Tommie completed 19, and Leitner completed 18. You know, so I mean, the quarterback play was balanced. Where Nebraska and beat them up in yards was rushing.
Yeah. Newbie put up 85 yards, so Newbie had a decent day. 16 carries, 85. Oh, Armstrong was
61. And even personnel had 21 yards and 3 carries. So they're finding ways to get him more involved in the game.
Brian had a reception.
He had He had one carry.
Reception.
He had one carry, but he also had that reception out of the backfield that went for a 31-yard touchdown catch, and he looked fast.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. I remember the one carry, and I'm like, he looked small. So at first I was like, who is that? And then I think it's number 18.
Yeah, he looked fast. And, we watched him games before on the kickoff return. We're like, wow, he doesn't look too fast. But for some reason, he turned the Jets on this past weekend and got in the end zone.
Interesting. He got in the game, but again, no Ezekbo and no Wilbon.
Well, I think Ezekbo right now is really not healthy. I think he's hurting Nebraska more than he's helping. So I think it's time to go ahead and sit him and let him heal, because he's not helping you. The few times he carried the ball the last couple of weeks, he hadn't done much. Wilbon, maybe it's something going on there. Maybe it's his attitude or the way he's practicing or something like that. I don't know. I'm not down there watching practices, but all in all, when it comes to, you got Terrell Newby, who's their leading back.
He's been a machine.
He's been consistent all year.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but in the same sense, I don't want to diss on him either. I mean, the guy is a machine. Every week after week, he is consistently in there and doing his thing.
Right, and I think he's close to he can reach 1,000 yards this year. Right now he's at 727. So so if he continue at an 80, 90 yards a clip from here on out, I think he can reach 1,000 yards this year.
Well, this game I had on, and I was a little distracted, so I was trying to watch the game. But of course, there was the fight on. There was a big fight card on.
Right,
at the same time. So I was juggling both, watching, looking for the touchdowns and looking for the knockouts.
Well, yeah, touchdowns was okay. Knockouts, UFC, and I'm not a big UFC guy because I think it's all a joke for what those guys, what they put their body through and what they get paid.
Oh, they get paid nothing.
They get paid nothing. And so I just think it's all a joke to where the owners are making all the money and the guys and putting these guys' health on the line. So I think anyone who does it is not right upstairs. Because boxers take less punishment and make more money,
way more money,
than what these guys will do. And so I just, I'll watch it, but I'm not a student of to where I can call you and say, oh, this guy right here is that good, that guy right there is good. I can't do that.
I loved it.
I don't waste my time on it.
Loved it.
I just go to friends' house if they have it on TV and say, hey, I'm having a fight this weekend. Want to come over? Yeah, I'll do that, but I would not get them at my house. I would not pay for pay-per-view. No.
This one was a big one, so I paid for it. I usually don't. They're too expensive for what they're so expensive, but this one was a big one. So I did. So I had two TVs going, and I was trying to follow both the game and the fight, and got distracted from time to time. I did see Wilbon he was in the game at least once. He had one reception.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he played a little bit. Well, it's just something there. It's just something there to where, why isn't he on the field more? If they're saying that he's the back that you don't need perfect blocking, that he can make something out of nothing, then why is he out on the field? I don't have the answer to that.
I don't know either.
But what I was impressed with, but they got one of their probably best offensive linemen back this week in Foster.
And he started
and played the whole game and listened to him talk. He was very confident. He made mistakes, but you saw him bring energy to the offensive line, because now they were able to put guys back in their right positions, and you saw somewhat of what you thought this offensive line could be early on in the season. But when he went down, they had to juggle positions, and now you're starting to get guys back in the right positions. And, the future's bright. Hopefully those guys can heal up, and in the next 2-3 games that they play, you see the offensive line that Nebraska wanted to put out the start of the year.
They need it bad.
They need it bad. And they're beat up front, so getting those guys healthy, and you can get them, and people say, well, how can you get them healthy in the middle of the season? Well, it's how you practice with those guys. You're late in the season right now. You shouldn't be out there popping pads every day. You should be out there popping pads at all. It should be more of a 3-quarter walkthrough type deal to where you're practicing, but you're not going full speed. Because right now it's all about recognition.
Well, Tommie needs some protection. Because Tommie ain't gonna last if he doesn't get some protection.
Well, you can control that though. And once again, if you got the running game going, you can control that.
Do you think we can get a running game going without Tommie?
Yeah,
he seems to be the element that kind of opens up the running game for us a lot of times.
He is, but I think with Tommie, he gives them a threat of a running quarterback. So you play a different type of defense versus a guy is just sit back in the pocket, throw the ball. So, but Tommie, if he's out there, then they have to always have a guy on him, knowing that he can take off a running time. So just his presence out there can open up the run game.
Yeah. And he had a couple of really good runs this week. And then he had the one run at the very end of the game where he pulled his hamstring, so now we don't know what he looks like for going into next week.
Who was he? Willis Reed? But it was a New York Knick where he hurt his leg and then carried him off, and he comes back out in the game and limping and scores 70-some points. That's one thing that I don't care to see.
Yeah,
being carried off the field. If you can walk. Don't get carried off the field. That's just my mentality.
No, I agree. He's been beat up this year, and he keeps coming back out on the field and keeps fighting. This week, I don't know what's going to happen or not. The question is, at this point, because he's now got the winningest record in college football, active wins. How important is it, do you think, there's two sides to this, right? There's the team aspect, but then for Tommie himself, how important is it for him this week to just start? Maybe not play the game, but come out and play the first series just to own the start.
Well, I don't know if that's important. I think the most important thing is that it's his last game in Memorial Stadium. I think that means more
senior day
yeah. than the actual starting or playing. Because as a senior, the one thing that you always want to do is be able to play your last game in Memorial Stadium in front of the fans. So I think whether it's a start record or not, I think it's more important to him that he's out there playing in front of this crowd for the last time, because he won't play in front of Memorial Stadium again. This is the last game.
I think Jordan Westerkamp said they asked him how long does it feel like he's been playing with the Huskers, and he says it's been at least 8 years.
Yeah, because he's been playing since a freshman.
Yeah, these guys, and Tommie, same thing. They've been out there for a long time,
and people don't understand or realize that too. When you start at a young age as a freshman or a redshirt freshman, and you play 4 years here, it feels like you've been here 8 years. You didn't get the privilege of sitting out 1 year or sitting out a year and then playing backup road. You've been starting from the first day you stepped on campus here. So I think 4 years when you play every year, it feels like 8.
You went through this. What do you do? What do you do? Come February 1st, like you've lived this life. You've eaten, you breathe it, you sleep it, you live this life 24/7, and all of a sudden it's like,
well,
you're free.
Well, here's the thing about his schedule. If they're potential NFL guys, their schedule's gonna stay busy with the combine, with workouts, with getting in shape, and then getting ready for the draft and stuff like that. So you're gonna stay. So you really don't have the only downtime you think you're gonna have is when they're out there doing winter conditioning, but you'd probably be conditioning with them, and then spring ball, to when you might be off some other place training for the NFL combine, or NFL draft, or training for or giving a workout for a team. So your schedule really doesn't die down if you're a potential NFL draft pick.
But if you're
not,
you're not.
But if you're not, then yes, you're like, okay, what do I do now? So you find time to do, find things to do. You might go out party a little bit more, but some people do that, some people don't. So you manage your time better.
Yeah, I would just think I'd be lost for a little while looking for a hobby.
Oh, no, I wasn't. I found a hobby quick.
Kids?
Relaxing. Relaxing. I didn't have any kids in college, man.
When did you have your first kid? How old were you? You had to be pretty close to that.
No, my first kid.
No, I guess you're not. You're right.
My first kid, I think I was 29.
Yeah, I
think I was 29 when I had my first kid. He's 13. I'm 42. Yes, 29. Yeah,
smart guy.
Yeah, I was one of those smart guys. I didn't have one. No. I wanted to make sure I was ready for kids before I had kids.
I was a kid when I had my first kid.
Oh, yeah, you was in high school when you had your kid.
Not quite that young, but...
Or middle school. Which one was it?
I didn't know what to do in middle school. I don't know if I knew what to do in high school. Not at all.
Yeah, so you trying to put me in your category, having kids way too early. No, I was 29. Got married when I was 26, and I think I was 26, and... Yep. So...
All right, well, Minnesota. I don't know.
It was good. It was a good game. It was a very competitive game. We all knew it was going to be competitive, just based off the last 6 games versus each other. There really wasn't a blowout, and that was a good thing. To where Minnesota came here early and they played well.
Well, that first drive they had lasted 7.5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and it was helped by a special teams snafu.
Oh,
the 12 men on the field type deal, and I don't know if you guys listened to Mike Riley's press conference on Monday where he tried to explain what happened on that. But in the end of the day, you still got to be able to count 12 or not. And what a lot of people didn't know this, to where you if Mike Rose-Ivy is on the field, he has to come off. Especially
who has to come off?
Mike Rose-Ivy, especially if they put personnel back there.
Then he has to come off.
Yes, because they wear the same number.
Yes.
So once the camp back to filling points, then Ivy can stay on the field. But if personnel's back there receiving points, Michael Rose has to come off the field because you can't have two of the same numbers playing the same side of the ball. And so that may have been confusion. And then he said different personnel groupings and stuff like that, to where if you're nickel, then everybody stays in, one comes off. If you're in your base, then the defensive lineman come off. So, I mean, it's a lot of that stuff that goes on. But at the end of the day, you still got to know 12 versus 11.
Who was it, Iowa? Was it Iowa? Somebody this week had two of the same numbers in the backfield.
And you're not supposed to have that.
No, yeah, they got called on it, obviously. Yeah, like, what in the world? But
and that's the problem with duplicate numbers. I think there's enough numbers on a football team.
I don't understand the duplicate numbers.
Especially from the key people who are going to play. I think there's enough. You have, 99 numbers?
Yeah, I don't understand why we have offensive. I don't understand why we have the situation with DP and Michael Rose-Ivy.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't understand it either.
I
never
that.
did.
I understand that we want to give a guy that number, but you have 99 numbers. You don't have that many top three that's going to take up 99. Now, I can understand if you got a walk-on or a red shirt or a walk-on or a scout with a duplicate number, but he's not going to play much. But once he starts playing, then you got to change the number to where you don't have that issue anymore.
Do they typically let you try to select your number, or do they assign it? Combination of both?
As a freshman, they let you. They give you a number. This is how it was when I was there. They gave me a number. People don't realize my number was 10 in high school. So I wanted number 10. I wanted number 10 when I got here. But guess what? I couldn't get number 10 because a fifth-year senior had number 10. And so the upper class chose their numbers, and then the freshman got what was left over. So they gave me 15. Well, then after the senior left, they wanted me to go back. They asked if I wanted 10. I'm like, no, I'll stick with 15. So that's how that worked. So that's why you saw you see people changing numbers as they get older.
Somebody just did that. I thought last couple of years, somebody just did that
because the number came available.
Yeah,
and so he went to the number that he wanted. Upper class get an opportunity to choose the number that they want.
Always kind of nice.
Yeah, it is, but still, there shouldn't be duplicate numbers on your top three units.
No, doesn't make sense to me. But
0 cents.
I don't. What do I know?
Offense or defense?
Or because it really put it in a situation. Yeah, special teams, which was the blunder of this game. If we had a downside, I would assume it'd be special teams.
You could see some changes in the special teams. And I'm not necessarily saying that the special team coach is going to get fired.
Yeah.
But you might see him get more help from other assistant coaches, because what he's doing right now, quite frankly, is not working. And I look at special teams. I look at extra points. When you got a guy like Drew Brown.
Yeah.
He's pretty much accurate. I mean, when you talk about kickoffs, he pretty much puts the ball in the end zone all the time, and they have good coverage there. But when you talk about punt and punt return, that you get more of, we're missing out, and I just don't understand that too. Where to me, that's probably the most important special team in the game. And people say, "Well, why is that?" Because usually you get more punt returns in the game.
We had one kickoff return. That can't be right.
No, you had three because they scored 17.
Yeah, my stats here are wrong. But DPE, he took 4 punt returns, and he ended up with -1 yard.
Yeah, and with a guy like that, as dangerous as he is, if he gets the ball in the end, he doesn't need much room. And so I don't understand why they can't design a blocking scheme or return scheme for him to get 10 yards is a good return. But when you got four returns for negative yardage, that's on the scheme.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with return guy. That's the blocking scheme.
Well, we got to
figure something out. We got to figure something out because he's a valuable weapon back there, and we're not giving him an opportunity to make plays.
Yeah, we're really not seeing the utilization of him like we did previously.
And maybe he's still not 100% healthy. Maybe he's still not there yet. But if he's out there, get him a look crease, get him some blocking, he'll make something happen.
Special teams is definitely a spot that has hurt us, but Kyron Williams with another interception.
Yeah,
Banderas with 11 tackles. Those guys
are stepping up. They're stepping the game up. And I was very critical early in the season of Banderas, by fifth year senior, how he played the previous 3 years. But for some reason, the light bulb finally came on, and he's playing like I'm not gonna say he's gonna be drafted, but he can play.
I wonder if that's what if that was the trigger or something happened. Because he wasn't playing like this, and all of a sudden he's lights out.
So he might. I don't know if he'll be drafted, but I think he can make a team, and I think he'll play a lot because he's showing that he can go out there and be an every down back. Like for instance, who in the world would thought Will Compton would have been a team captain and on the edge of being a Pro Bowler? For the Washington Redskins.
I wouldn't have.
I wouldn't have. But look what kind of football player he's turned into.
Yeah.
Who would have thought Jared Crick would have been the type of player he's been.
Yeah.
He had the potential, but when he first got in the NFL, he didn't do much at all.
We won't talk about Randy Gregory, though.
Yeah, well, his career is over with. I think he got busted again.
He got busted again.
His career is over with. I just don't, people.
Talented guy.
Football is not a right; it's a privilege. And I don't care. You do have rules, whether you like them or you don't. And when you're making six figures or more a year, you got to follow the rules. I don't care how much you like something, you got to follow the rules. And there's nothing out there that's gonna stop me from making six figures and doing something I truly love.
I don't understand it at all.
I don't. It floors me how many of these guys are taking chances of doing something that's going to cost them thousands and thousands of dollars.
Especially when you got, and I don't know Gregory's background or anything, but a lot of these guys don't have the best upbringing.
Right, but to me, it doesn't matter.
But you don't want to go back to that. You want to progress, and you want to help your family progress, and to put that on the line.
Well, I'm not even talking about marijuana or cocaine or whatever. I'm talking about even the PEDs.
Yeah.
How many guys are getting suspended? Well, I didn't know I couldn't take that. Come on, people. You make enough money. You should know before you put anything in your body, you let your team trainer, a physician, look at it. Over-the-counter stuff is the one that gets them all the time because there's certain stuff in over-the-counter drugs that are banned by the NFL. But and I can understand that. But hey, that's your fault. You should have checked. But when it comes to the hardcore drugs, and I know people saying, well, it's just weed, it's just marijuana, it's no big deal. It actually helped with the pain and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's true or not because I never touched it, never smoked it. But I hear stories about it. But the bottom line is, it's still on the banned substance list for the NFL. So whether it's legal in Colorado to smoke, whether it's legal in Washington to smoke, whether it's legal in Maryland to smoke, whether it's legal in California to smoke. If you're playing in the NFL and you're smoking it and you get tested and they test you and it comes back positive, you're going to be suspended. Right, wrong, or different. Now, the only people that can change that is the CBA and the owners. Well, guess what? I don't see that happening anytime soon. Yeah. So just, people, knock it off. Stop costing yourself money.
Painful. All right, let's talk about Maryland.
Okay. I don't know much about them.
I know they run some type of spread offense.
Yeah, they're spread offense, 3-4 scheme defense type stuff. They started the season off hot. I think they won their first 5 games, and then
they were undefeated first 5 or 6 games,
and now they lost their first 5 games, and the last 2 games they lost by a whole bunch. 62-3 versus Ohio State. I think Michigan beat them 60-something to 7 or 70-something to 7.
They're playing right now. They're playing for an attempt. I think to get in.
They got to win one of the next 2 games to get to a bowl game.
To get into a bowl game. Yeah, they've lost the last 3.
Yeah, so they got to win one of the next 2 games to get in a bowl game.
And they've not fared out very well at all in the Big Ten Conference Series.
No, what is it? No, they were 2-4 or something like that. 2-5.
Yeah, unfortunately, they beat Michigan. Everybody's beat Michigan State this year for whatever reason, and then they beat Purdue.
Yeah, so they're 2-5.
So 2-5. This game, though, you might not know this, but this will be, if Nebraska wins this, it will mark Nebraska's 50th 9-win season in school history.
Wow, that's a lot.
50.
That's probably the most in college football.
I wouldn't know, but that's a lot.
That is a lot. You're talking about 50. You're talking about that's 450 wins right there.
Whew. Yeah.
That's impressive there.
Well, it's even impressive. I think it's really impressive. You think about the last few seasons we've had, and they've not been great, but looking at, Tommie Armstrong having the most active wins, or the most wins out of active quarterbacks right now, I thought that was pretty even impressive.
Right, and the good thing about that, and don't, people going to say, Tommie, take off your hat and all this kind of stuff. They're also playing more games.
That's true, too.
They're playing more games. So when you're playing more games, that's more opportunities to start and more opportunities to do it. I think the most games I played was 13, 12 or 13.
You don't even know?
No. It's over 20 years, man. Come on. Yeah, but we were 13-0-95 or something like that. No, we're 12-0-95. And 94, 13-0, I think we played in the kickoff classic.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was the extra game that we played in.
You guys was it like Virginia Tech?
West Virginia.
Yeah.
Played in East Rutherford. So I mean, kudos on him because that just shows him that his longevity and he's able to stay healthy and get out and start. So kudos to him. But back to Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland.
They got a good chance of making it because they finish up with Rutgers at home.
Yeah, so I would assume. Actually, this sounds crazy, but that might actually be a really entertaining game. Maryland versus Rutgers?
No.
You think they'll run? You'll think they'll run Rutgers still?
Yeah, I think they'll run Rutgers. Rutgers
right.
Yeah, Rutgers. Yeah,
they're a mess.
Yeah,
all new coaching staff.
And yeah, they're to me they are the worst team in the Big 12, Big 10. Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, they're absolutely. They have not won one conference game.
No.
They are.
And Purdue beat them, I think.
Nope, no Purdue.
No, they beat Purdue.
They played. Oh, they got beat by Illinois though. Indiana, Minnesota,
Ohio State.
Wisconsin. They will lose to Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, so they truly are the worst team in Big 10, which is okay.
But you got where they're coming from and all the problems they had. They got new coaching staff, and right. I don't know what that means for them, but I don't know what the turnaround time is or if they will be able to turn that program around. I don't think Rutgers have ever been a.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem I see with Rutgers in Maryland. When they came into the Big 10, Rutgers was semi-competitive in the conference. They were winning a lot of games with the coach that they had.
Yeah,
Maryland has never been a big-time football program. Think about it. And now coming into the Big 10, trying to recruit against the Big 10, all the talent there, it's going to be tough. They're good at men's soccer. They just won the conference championship again. They're good at men's basketball. Maybe they're good at field hockey or whatever you call lacrosse, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes to football, they have when they were in ACC, they weren't even powerhouse in ACC. So it's just one of those deals to where Maryland, if you can just put a 500 to 2 games over 500 football team out there, they're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, I think that's really all that these guys are expecting from their hires and what they're spending. If we can get a 500 season, kudos.
They score because people still come to the game. They're competitive. So Maryland is they're competitive.
It's like this for all conferences, right? We're starting to see these second and third, even third ranked teams. Like I hate to call them tiered teams or whatever, but these are. And those guys coming in trying to compete in the Big 12 or, Big 10 or Pac-12 or whatever, these teams aren't going to – I don't see these teams being able to sustain.
No, you know why they do it? For the money.
TV, viewership, money.
It's the money. It's the conference alignment money. That's why they do it.
Rutgers and Maryland, outside, if you take away the TV money, it doesn't make any – to me, it makes no sense.
They'll be broke. They'll be bankrupt. Yeah. What are they getting, $40 million? Both of those teams are getting their full allotment right now. That was the agreement for them. They get in Nebraska had to wait 6 years before they start getting their full allotment.
We had to wait.
Got to wait. Something's wrong with that picture to me. When Nebraska bought more history, tradition, powerhouse to the conference, and it took them 6 years before they finally start receiving their full allotment of the money. When you got Rutgers, in Maryland, who aren't known as powerhouses, but they're looking at TV market, they get full allotment now. To me, something's wrong with that picture. But I'm not the one in the Big 10 office, and they're here.
And they're going to keep it. I'm assuming we're going to expand again before too long. And you hear about the Big 12 trying to expand. And
Big 12 is not going to expand. Why do they need to expand? All you got to do, if their top 2 teams just win out, keep winning.
Well, you hear they're going to do a championship game next year.
Well, you got the top 2 teams.
But
still, though, it's still not the same.
No, it's not. They're selecting because they're not doing conferences or divisions. They're going to there's a panel, I guess. They're going to select who the top 2 teams are. So if there's teams that are tied or whatever, they're going to select it.
I think that's just the dumbest thing. You had the opportunity this year to expand. You had teams that are interested. And why won't you take Houston? Why won't you take BYU? Why won't you take South Florida? Why won't you take whoever? At least get it up to 14. That way,
you do the.
That way, now there is no questioning over what it is, because now you're the same as the Big Ten with 14 teams.
Yeah.
Now you can break it up. But they're just being stubborn, saying, "Well, no, our conference is good enough. We don't need it." Well, that's why they're not being talked about in the BCS playoff right now. All the conferences that are being talked about are what? The teams that have conference championships.
They'll have that extra game that they're not going to have. There's clear divisions and rivalries, and you can come up with a title or winner of that. We had the problem with Baylor and TCU. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
I think it was last year, 2 years ago. Which team goes? They had a tie. Which team goes to? I mean, it's crazy. Just why don't you just get off your high horse down in Texas, and bring in 2 more teams. Get it to 12. You're at 10 now. Get it to 12. Now you can go 6-6, and then the next year, do that for a couple of years, and expand on a couple more years after that. There's no rule that say you have to bring in 4 teams this year.
No.
Bring in 2, that way you can split them up into a north-south
Houston
division.
and BYU made sense to me.
Yeah, now you should go back to your true north-south division, to where all teams in the south stay in, all teams Oklahoma stay in the north.
I'd rather have Houston and BYU than Rutgers and Maryland right now.
Yeah.
BYU's not a powerhouse, but they've always been pretty competitive in their division, in their class.
They beat Nebraska last year.
Shut me up.
And then they beat Mississippi State this year. I mean, so they've
always been competitive.
Yes.
And Houston came out of nowhere. They've been pretty competitive the last couple of years.
Well, the problem with Houston didn't come out just anywhere. Because you forget when Kevin Sumlin was there.
Yeah.
That's when they started. That's when they started bringing it back up. Because what happened? They started keeping that talent in Houston home. Instead of going to Houston, going on the
which
Texas,
makes sense for them, right?
Yeah,
focus on keeping those guys home, and
they built that beautiful campus, a small beautiful campus on stadium, so it made them feel like a Division I school. And they've been hiring some great coaches. Look at the coaches that have gone through there and got. You talk about Kevin Sumlin. Where is he now? A&M. You talk about Art Browse. Even though he's not there, but look what he did for Baylor.
What he do? Yeah.
And now you got Tom Herman. Look what he did last year. I mean, so they're attracting good coaches, football coaches there, and they're keeping the talent there. So Houston, and plus they're in a huge TV market.
Oh yeah,
huge TV market. Wouldn't that be something that the Big Ten go down and say, "Hey, Houston, why don't you come be in a
That'd be awesome.
Big Ten?" Well, you don't think that piss off a lot of Texas people?
I think it would, to invade Texas, to have some, because we're known pretty right. We're the North Conference. Mm-hmm. It'd be really interesting to go down there and to pick something up in that market.
Wouldn't that piss them off?
That'd be awesome. I would love to see that.
Well, the SEC came in and got A&M.
Because I say SEC. I mean, they didn't waste any time. They grabbed A&M. They grabbed Missouri.
And then Arkansas was part of the old SWAC company. I mean, so they're like, hey, these are the teams we want. We're going to get them.
That would be a good market to tap into.
Yeah.
We have no presence there.
And then stop worrying about territory alignment. We go Nebraska going all the way to New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
That doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter anymore. Fans going to travel.
Yeah, those days are over.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to have to travel far from Maryland. We're going to go down the road, and I don't even know what to expect for this game. I would assume Nebraska is going to handle it.
I will assume so too. I think even Riker Fife can play a lot in this game. I think Nebraska can handle it. I think Maryland, they're a good football team. They got some good skill players, but I just don't think they have enough.
They haven't performed very
well in the Big Ten. So
what would be interesting is not only Riker Fife, but I've heard there's talk they're warming Zach Darlington up. It'd be interesting to see if even Zach Darlington gets some playing time.
Get some playing time, but don't play Patrick O'Brien. I'm telling people.
No, that'd be a waste. It'd be a complete waste. Zach Darlington, I think, is he a junior? He might be a third-year sophomore or second-year sophomore. I
think he's a third-year junior, fourth-year junior.
Maybe that's it.
I think he came in like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, you're right. I think that's correct. I would like to see that guy's just to give the guy some time, then have an opportunity. I mean, he's not going to start or anything, but the guy's back there holding what he tried to do. Wide receiver. I mean, he's trying to do whatever he can to get on the field and participate with this team. It'd be great to see him out there for a little bit.
What you got there is a guy who loves Nebraska.
Yeah.
He could be one of those guys who got all upset and leave and transfer some other place. But he said, you know what? I'll commit to Nebraska. I love Nebraska. I'm going to stay here and do whatever I can do to help this team win. And you don't find that these days with kids who are highly ranked coming out of high school anymore. If they don't get time playing right away, they want to leave. But this guy, he stayed committed to Nebraska, and he's fighting out. So he's going to go a long way in his career after football because of his commitment and him being the type of person that he is.
I think going forward, we're probably going to see a quarterback rotation as long as Mike Riley's here. I think every 2 years we're going to see a quarterback rotation.
Oh yeah,
we got Tanner coming in. I'm assuming Tanner is probably going to get the start. Patrick O'Brien will be second. The backup. He'll take over when Tanner leaves. They had a new quarterback that's coming in at next year, I think, from California.
Well, you always got to have quarterbacks coming in. You always got to have one. Well,
there was a gap. Remember, there was a gap there. There was a gap where we didn't recruit a quarterback.
Taylor Martinez was here.
We went out and got Bush, and you got Johnny Stanton, you got Martinez was in the mix, and then there was a couple.
Then Bubba Dawson, but you also had a couple of guys who they recruited that went baseball.
Yeah.
So that kind of hurt the gap too.
There was, I think, 2 years we didn't have any.
Bubba Starling. Who was he went? I think
Bubba Watson. Starling? No,
he played baseball for Kansas City Royals Farm League. I think it was Bubba Starling.
Was it Starling? Bubba Starling. It says how quickly we forget.
So I mean,
you're right.
He was supposed to have been the next best thing, or is it Stanton?
Well, Johnny Stanton,
and then you had Starling. I mean, so those two guys right there who didn't make it here.
I mean, if Reggie Bush.
Bush, you're really going way back.
Yeah, I'm really going back. But if Bush would have been hanging around, he would have been in the mix maybe even for next year.
Yes, I mean, something this staff couldn't control because of there's a lot of things the staff couldn't control with guys leaving.
Yeah.
And, so it's just one of those deals to where.
Well, I don't think a program like Nebraska should ever. And there's no disrespect coming out of my mouth about Riker 5, but this program should never have. They should never take a fall off like we're taking between Tommie Armstrong and Riker 5. I just think this university and this program brings too much to the table to have a second their backup quarterback be what we've seen on the field. So I don't want to say he is or isn't that guy, but what we've seen on the field, man, there's a talent drop between those two.
Huge drop, and then that's not this coaching staff's fault. I know people won't say it, but what you're starting to see this staff do is they're recruiting guys who you will not have the difference between the 1 and 2 guy anymore.
Yeah, that's what I love to see. Right,
you won't see a difference, and that's what Nebraska, when I was here when I left had, and then you started seeing kind of a change when Frank Solich took over with Eric and then Jamal Lord, and you started seeing that separation.
Yeah, there was a definite number one guy, and if that guy goes down, like right now, Tommie's out. Oh man.
Yes, but then you brought Bill Callahan in here. Then he started getting that gap together with Zach Taylor and Joe.
That's right. Zach Lee came in.
And then you had Sam Keller, who he wasn't bad, but But then Bo come in here, and then now you're starting to see that separation to where you had one guy and they focus on that one guy, and everybody else they didn't develop the younger guys. Yeah.
But now what we're dealing with is number one is Tommie Frazier, and number 2 is Monty Crisco. That's kind of and no disrespect towards any of them, but there is such a different in skill and play and experience, and that gap is huge.
Right, it is huge, and so hopefully
no disrespect to any of those players.
No, it's not. It's not. They take disrespectful. Not if they can't see it on what's happening on the field, then something. Then they're living through a clouded glass.
I got nothing.
It's not being disrespectful. It's just the facts.
It's just what it is. There's a huge gap.
It's a fact. So it's not being disrespectful. It's what's actually happening on a football field, to where you shouldn't be afraid of your number 2 guy going in there.
Yeah,
and not being able to run your full offense because of you don't know what you're going to get out of them. So that's not disrespect. That's just what they're dealing with right now, and they're out doing things now to make sure that doesn't happen here again as long as they're here.
Well, that'd be ideal, and we shouldn't see that as long as guys they keep recruiting every year, get a quarterback, and we try to hold on to those quarterbacks as long as we can. We should have pretty good talent from what we see on paper,
right?
Just starting with Tanner and Patrick O'Brien, and
you're gonna get some guys that every year you're trying to recruit the best quarterback out there, and you're gonna get some guys gonna leave because they feel like they can be playing. That happens.
Yeah.
But you can't have 2 or 3 of those guys leaving every. You can't have one of your quarterbacks leaving every year.
Well, that was the problem we had. We're losing quarterbacks every year, and even this year, seeing Bush leave, I don't know what the circumstance was, but to me, that even seemed crazy because Bush literally left a University of Nebraska
right before the season
to go to community college,
and he's playing well there.
But I'm blown away that that to go from a.
You know why he did that though, right?
I'm assuming to get some playing time so he can present himself to another bigger university.
To another bigger university, yes. Because now he can leave this year because if his academics there and then go to and sign another Division I school and not have to sit out.
Yeah, that was my assumption.
So that's why he did what he did. It was just a smart move by him because he went to Iowa Western Community College. Am I correct?
Yeah, he went to Iowa Western Community College. He'll play a season there, and I'm assuming, and if he transfers back up, he gets to play right away, right?
He can play right away.
So that's probably power to
Yeah. So good luck.
I guess that's a smarter move than I gave him credit for. I just hate to see a university like Nebraska lose those players to a community college, but that makes total sense.
Yes,
too.
He didn't say I'm leaving, going to Grand Valley State or something like that because he feel like he's a Division I football player. So he did the best thing, transfer to junior college,
and he will probably play next year somewhere.
And then some Division I schools see him and sign him, and he'll have 2 years to play.
Yeah, he'll play 2 years. We've seen this over and over and over,
right?
And hopefully they can just keep recruiting good talent and hold on to those guys,
right? But Nebraska's going to win this game, and it shouldn't be close. And if it's close, that means you got a team who's unmotivated. But Nebraska's going to win this game. Even if Tommie only plays a little bit, Nebraska should win this game easily.
There's enough talent on the field. There's no doubt.
Right.
There should be no doubt. I don't even know what the point spread is offhand.
I thought it was 15. I thought I saw 15 earlier.
Is it 15? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was going to say I would imagine it'd be 2 touchdowns at least.
Yeah, I saw it was 15 earlier. So,
well.
We'll be back in next week talking about it.
We'll talk about that one, then we'll talk about the final season. Final game of the regular season.
The Hawkeyes.
Which.
That's a toss-up to me.
Who knows?
That's a toss-up game. That game is always.
Well,
last time I checked, they flip-flopped and who wins that game, and guess what? The home team hasn't won that game in the last 4 games.
The home team has not?
It has not won it.
Ooh, that's interesting.
The home team has not won that game in the last 4 years.
So last year, we went to that game last year.
It was in Lincoln.
Froze my ass off.
Yep.
God damn. But the way the weather's playing right now, I might actually go to that game. It might actually hold out to be okay.
Yeah, but just think about that. The home team hasn't won the game in the last 4 games.
That's insane. Mm-hmm. We came close last year, but if
that
works,
we didn't come close. Nebraska threw them 4 interceptions.
Well,
the year before in Iowa,
no. You're right, but I think we were in that game until the fourth quarter, and we threw our 4th or 5th interception. Yeah. Even with all those interceptions, it was still we were in the game, I guess.
We were in the game.
But
then remember they beat them down in the last play of the game. Nebraska won the last play of the game, and then a couple years ago, what was it? They came in here and beat us here running the ball, and then the year before that, we beat them late in the game again.
And I don't know, if we have a healthy Tommie, I still don't know. I mean, Iowa has. They got almost their whole team back from last year, and they just haven't been clicking for whatever reason.
I think the offense is what's been bothering them because defense hasn't played bad all year.
Yeah,
they had some hiccups, but the offense is just wasn't the same.
And they just beat Michigan, even though there's a couple of questionable calls that everybody wants to talk about. But they still beat Michigan.
They still beat Michigan. They still beat Michigan. So it's gonna be that's gonna be a toss-up.
That's not a gimme.
No, it's not a gimme.
I wonder what the point spread's going to open up on that. I would assume Iowa because of the home team.
No. I think Nebraska would be favored probably 5 or 6 start off because they're the better team.
You're right. Record. That's probably true.
Iowa's gonna get some points because they're at home.
Yeah.
Last game, senior day, but I think Nebraska open up the favorite.
That's an interesting game.
It'll be I think it'll be like by the time the game starts, I think it'll be like a 4-point favorite in Nebraska.
It should be an interesting game. Yeah. Good matchup. I predict a lot of running.
So we'll be back here to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers to the west. Black and gold.
Yeah.
Black and gold. So we'll be back next week talk about the preparation for the Iowa game.
Last game of the season. I can't believe the season's almost over.
Yeah, it is. It's been a long season. It doesn't even seem like it, but it's been a long season.
It has. And then we go dry for a while. And then we wait for spring where we start the quarterback controversy.
There you go.
All right, well, if you haven't already, go over and you can subscribe to iTunes and Google Play and everywhere else. And we're over at Facebook /Touchdown Tommie or Twitter /Touchdown
Touchdown Tommie. Or you
hold your tongue into it.
Or you can go at touchdowntommie.com and pull up all the podcasts from years before and now.
Word. Until then, next week. No. At home. didn't watch that game. I told April, I purposely said we're not going to we watch Nebraska. I turned on UFC early fights. I'm like, we don't want to watch Iowa. Like, it's just. And then all of a sudden, fourth quarter is like, what in the world is going on?